Let me share with you what is visual research and why it is important as a visual communicator. And let me share this practical presentation example so that you can comprehend it much better. Okay. Here is the presentation, which is really useful for you to understand. First of all, one of the best way you can inculcate understanding visual nuances is you have to go through a lot of exposure. And here you can see good amount of exposure can come from just observing existing visual creations, whether in the form of magazine, newspaper, or any kind of where you can learn, even books. And there are a few interesting magazines which concentrate a lot on visual communication or using visuals to say a lot, okay? To communicate in a way that regular magazines may not do it. These are like, they push the boundaries, they try to bring that newness or that innovation into visual communication. Kilimanjaro is one such a news magazine which does a lot of this innovation in graphic communication. Look at here, how interestingly they composed the typography, of course, images, the composition, crop. And what really matters is how do you, first of all, of course, there is a theme, there is a topic, there is a concept, all of that are a part of it. Beyond that, or as a designer, as a visual communicator, you have to keep all of that, the context, communication, text, and the topic and the article. But as a visual communicator, you can contribute in this overall communication, bringing your understanding of the composition, your way of interpreting that concept visually, and share a composition. Here, if you look at some of these magazines, it looks so stunning because it's a double spread image or a full spread image. That image is so stark, it communicates. Sometimes just you playing with the typography. Just look at it. It's how they played with these 4 letters. Hope, H-O-P-E. It adds a lot of dimension. Here the typography become the image itself. And it has got that magnetism. It pulls you in and it makes you to engage with the article or a magazine. So it's important to understand these simple nuances. And this is the bedrock of your learning, understanding, and taking your learning into the next level, okay? Once you learned, now you have to practice that, okay? Until unless you don't practice, you won't be able to see the results. Now you take an assignment, you take a subject, you create you write an article on that particular topic and collect as many as visuals you can. And then once you have your article, the written article, the text and headlines and images, you start composing those. How interestingly you compose, that has got a lot of talking to do, in the sense that has got a lot of aspect which pulls towards, or it creates an interesting aspect in the magazine. So here if you see that this particular magazine is talking article or magazine spread is talking about buildings in the London, and the same image, they are in 3 different proportions or sizes, extremely large and extremely small, and somewhat in between these 2 contrasts. And again, in the same image, it's a double spread. You're trying to show both of these buildings are made out of bricks, okay? But one building has got an old world charm. Another is is a new world, modern design, which is just a simple cubicle or a plain surface. Another is Victorian architecture style. So of course, when you are playing or when you are composing your design, you can play with typography as well to create interesting aspects. So these are the earlier composition wherein we tried to juxtapose with typography on the image and integrate those two parts as a one part of it. And I'll just share with you some of the research, what we did before we composed those magazines. And you do a deep study and understand, as I said, bringing these two contrasts and understanding the nuances of publication. And here you can see in this composition that large, medium, and small, how it is interestingly composed in the spread. So in the case of this particular exercise, we looked at bricks in London, construction in the sense there are a lot of buildings in London which extensively used as red bricks. So that was the concept. And this whole magazine is based or dedicated to bricks, how effectively artistically used in London buildings, and especially this specific building, which was London School of Business. But this magazine starts with a history of bricks. Bricks has what a huge history, thousands of years of history. So we started talking about that. As I was earlier saying, we were concentrating on the London School of Economics building, how interestingly they make use of brick to design their building. And in this building, they have a customized brick shapes because this has got an uneven, very unique shape surface. So they invented brick shapes. Here you can see these brick molds which are used to construct this building. And precisely they have 173,377 bricks used to make this building. These were the architect and they won the award for their work. This whole planning started in 2009. By 2010, they started manufacturing the bricks. In 2011, it got the basic structure. In 2013 and 2013, it's almost reached the completion stage. In 2014, they kind of launched it and it inaugurated the opening ceremony. And you can see that whole journey. So our learning out of this particular exercise was like, in London, bricks are not just used to make a wall. It's kind of a decorative element. So we produced a magazine inside magazine, a mini magazine, which is concentrating on this bricks becoming a clad. So it's like a dressing material, like how humans, we wear clothes to add a fashion or a lifestyle to our personality. Like that, there are several buildings in London, they use bricks, this colorful variety of bricks, to add that fashion quotient or a cladding or clothing-like aspect to their outer surface. Here is one example. This is a Tate Modern Museum, which use these different colored bricks, from dark to light. So it goes from your lower building is use of darker bricks, and as go higher and higher, you see the lighter bricks. This is a church in London. Once again, it intertwined with these different color like white and light blue bricks with your traditional brown bricks, and it creates this interesting pattern which adds a modernism to this building. So This is how you can take some of the learning from your research and create a publication which kind of work like a coffee table magazine. But the overall learning here, first you do research and you write an article, then you collect images around that particular subject, and then you start composing and making a publication. And while you're composing, how interestingly you compose it, how interestingly you use images, how interesting you narrate the story. That's what really matters. So this exercise is all about how do you use a visual to communicate a message. So therefore, this particular course is called Designed for Visual Communication. I hope you started understanding the power of using visual to communicate, build narratives, and create communication materials. Thanks for listening.